welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. This video is, as you can see, different from my others. I hope all of you enjoy. The pair was walking through the forest when suddenly they heard a noise. "What was that?" said Charlie in a frightful tone. "It was probably just the wind, Char," says Dan, trying to calm his little brother. "Okay, are you sure, Danny?" said Charlie, still a bit scared. "Yes, Char, now come on. Dad's gonna yell at us if we're late again," said Dan as he grabs Charlie's hand while the pair rushes home. "There they are, Walter," their mother said. "Where were you two?" said their father in an angry-like tone. "We got lost in the woods coming home," said Charlie as he looked down. "It won't happen again, Father," Dan replied. "Don't you be hard on those boys, Walter," the mother said harshly. "Now, kids, let's eat," the mother exclaimed happily. "Samantha, darling," the mother yelled. "Coming, Mother," Samantha shouted as she ran down the steps. "Sam!" Charlie said gleefully as Samantha sat down at the table. "You going to say grace tonight, Janet?" spoke Walter. "My pleasure," replied Janet. "Dear Lord, we thank you for this meal we're about to eat." Just as Janet was about to finish, the room shook as the lights went out. "Ah! What's happening?" screamed Charlie. "Probably an earthquake," stuttered Dan as it stopped. "Well, at least it's over now," Samantha said, still a bit shaken. "Let's just eat, please," Walter begged as the family began eating. "Your cooking is awesome, Mother," said Dan happily as he ate. "Thank you, dear," the mother said, smiling softly. Outside, there was the sound of wind blowing and trees swaying. Soon the family would finish their meal and go to bed. "Hey, Danny," Charlie whispered. "Yeah, Char," Dan replied. "Do you think that was the Forgotten?" whispered Charlie, a little scared. "Charlie, you know what Mother would say if she heard you," shrieked Dan. "Sorry, was just wondering," spoke Charlie. Soon the boys would go to bed as the night carried on. "Chris, you up?" Samantha texted her boyfriend. "Yeah, what's up?" Christopher replied. "There's something watching me," Samantha said in her bed that night. "Something?" Christopher replied back, a bit confused. "It's definitely not human, that's for sure," Samantha replied. "Well, it's probably the Forgotten, Sam. It won't hurt you when you're indoors. I remember that from history," Christopher said, trying to calm Samantha down. "I guess you're right. Sorry if I woke you up," texted Samantha. "It's fine," replied Christopher. "Good night, Sam. I love you," Christopher said as he put his phone down and went back to sleep. "Night, Chris. Love you too," Samantha replied, still worried. The night slowly turned to day as the family woke up. "Morning, honey," said Walter. "Good morning, dear," Janet replied in a sweet tone. The kids ran downstairs. "Hey, Mother," said Dan. "Hi, Mother," followed Charlie. "Good morning, children," Janet replied. "Are you alright, Samantha?" Janet said, looking at her. "Yeah, fine," replied Samantha, who was lost in space. "Question, Mother," Samantha said as she looked up at Janet. "Yes, dear," said Janet. "Why can we not talk about the Forgotten?" she asked her. Janet paused. "Reasons," Janet snapped. Samantha just got up and walked out. "Dan, follow her," said Janet. "Okay, Mother," Dan replied. "I want to go," shouted Charlie. "Go then," yelled Walter. Charlie ran outside and went to Dan's side. Samantha saw the Forgotten and her eyes went white as her hair went black, and she turned shadow-like. "Who are you?" Samantha demanded. "Scarlet?" the Forgotten said in surprise when it looked at her. "Scarlet? My name's Samantha," she said to the figure. "I named you Scarlet, and your two brothers, Derek and Connor," it said, confused. Just as Samantha could reply, Dan and Charlie ran up. "Whoa!" said Charlie, looking at the figure, as he soon had the same look as it. "Connor? Derek?" the Forgotten said, shocked. "Our names aren't Connor and Derek," replied Dan as he too looked like the figure. "That woman must have changed your names," it said while looking down. You mean mother? Said Charlie. I knew she wasn't her mother, Dan shouted. Charlie looked at Dan. Whoa, you look like it, said Charlie. Huh? Dan said as he looked down. How? He shouted. Like I said, you threw my children, the figure explained. Just before any of them could reply, Janet ran up. You, the figure yelled. What? We are my children, said Janet, confused. We aren't your children, Samantha replied. Samantha? Said Janet. My name isn't Samantha. My name is Scarlet, Samantha replied in a proud tone. And I'm Derek, said Dan. And I'm Connor, yelled Charlie. Attack her, said the spirit. With pleasure, Dan replied. Soon Janet would be just a forgotten memory, and Walter would pass on from a heart attack. The kids lived happily with their actual guardian and their own kind as Scarlet turned Christopher. That concludes our story. I do hope you enjoyed. If you'd like me to write more stories like this, let me know in the comments below. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya!